Good evening, everyone. My name is Edward Lemos, and in this short professional development session, I'll provide a high-level overview of how cross-curricular planning strengthens students' learning and how literature, both fiction and nonfiction, can reinforce critical skills across grade levels. This session is designed for K-12 teachers with a focus on practical strategies that can be applied immediately. In this session, we'll cover the core benefits of cross-curricular planning and why using literature amplifies learning across all content areas. We'll break it down by grade ranges K through 3 and 4 through 8. Because each stage has distinct developmental needs, we'll also talk about how cross-curricular work aligns to reading standards, support differentiation, and I'll walk you through the 2 concrete examples you can implement right away. Cross-curricular planning matters because students don't compartmentalize information the way adults do. They learn best when subjects reinforce one another. When students see reading skills applied in science, social studies, or even leadership training, their comprehension deepens, literature becomes a bridge, it connects emotional understanding and with factual knowledge. Research supports this. Cross-disciplinary coherence increases retention and critical thinking, according to Fulton 2024. For teachers, it also reduces repetition and helps close gaps before they become barriers. For our youngest learners, meaning is built through concrete visual storytelling and repetition. Fiction expands language and imagination, while nonfiction gives them their first exposure to real-world knowledge. When K-3 teachers choose one theme like animals or weather and weave it through reading, science, writing, art, students naturally make stronger connections. Cross-curricular planning also supports early reading standards, focused on comprehension, sequencing, and identifying key ideas. At this level, literature is a tool for building foundational vocabulary and curiosity. In grades 4 through 8, students shift from learning to read to reading to learn. They're now expected to analyze evidence, compare texts, annotate, evaluate biases, and justify claims. Cross-curricular planning supports this by giving students multiple pathways to interact with complex ideas. Literature, fiction, or nonfiction gives context and relevance, while expository texts provide data and factual structure. This combination strengthens content knowledge and prepares students for independent research and high school level writing. So how does cross-curricular planning work? Well, first, we're going to identify where ELA naturally overlaps with another subject. This could be a text structured in science, informational writing, and social studies, or character analysis paired with historical events. Next, we'll choose literature that deepens the theme, then integrate the expository text that provides factual grounding. Then we pair this with writing, discussion, or research tasks so students interact with the material in multiple ways. Technology can streamline this process using documents such as Google Docs, shared research folders, and annotation tools, which give students structure and visibility. The main challenge here is time, but once established, this system actually saves time long term. So how do we do this? First, we got to understand that cross-curricular planning naturally supports differentiation because literature exists in many forms. You have audio, level readers, articles, graphic text, and videos. You can group students by readiness or interest, provide sentence frames, or allow options for how to show mastery. Some students may prefer to write, others may create visual or deliver a verbal explanation. Thompson's work on differentiation reminds us that offering choice increases motivation and ownership. Literature gives students multiple entry points into the same concept, making it easier to adjust support without watering down the expectations. Here we have a K-3 example where we use the Lorax as the fiction anchor. Students look at how characters impact their environment. Then they read a National Geographic Kids article on endangered trees. Students compare the cause and effect relationship in both texts. This meets the K-3 ELA standards on retelling key ideas and text relationships while strengthening early science concepts about living things and habitats. Differentiation is simple. Emerging readers use pictures and sentence starters, while advanced students write a pledge or draw an original conservation plan. Now, for grades 4 through 8, we move into deeper analysis. Students read Theodore Roosevelt's speech on the national conservation efforts, and they're paired with a National Park Service article on environmental protection. President Roosevelt gives them a historical and leadership perspective, while the article supplies modern scientific context. Our students then analyze Roosevelt's claims, they evaluate the evidence behind them, and compare both texts. This integrates ELA standards for analyzing arguments and nonfiction structures with social studies and science standards on human impact and conservation. The differentiation options are strong here. We use sentence frames for students who need structure and enrich tasks like writing an action proposal for advanced learners. Now, to wrap everything up, literature is the anchor that ties content areas together and gives students the meaningful entry point into complex ideas. Cross-curricular planning supports long-term retention, equity, and engagement at all grade levels. It strengthens reading, writing, analysis, and critical thinking while preparing students for real-world decision-making and communications. This type of planning isn't extra work, it's strategic work that makes every instructional minute more purposeful. For our references, we went ahead and used Fulton K 2024, How to Make Cross-Curricular Teaching Part of Your Plan, Townsend's 2017, How to Differentiate Instructions in Academic Diverse Classrooms, and Fang's and Wise 2010, Improving Middle School Student Science Literacy Through Reading Infusion, Journal of Education Research.